Let's look at the other one, which is Cartesian space control. So here we are interested in getting the end effector to move at a certain position as a function of time. Okay, so there are two things here we'll talk about. One is, let's say we're in 3D. In this case, we want to move the x, y, z position, and talk about orientation just a bit. Or we could be in 2D, and we're interested in moving the x, y, and theta position. Okay, so in both cases, what you could do is just go with joint space trajectories. So use linear, cubic, quintic polynomials or splines. So nothing more to be done. Just use what we did in the past, like with the joint space. Use one of those and you're done. Now, once we get this profile for end effector, use the inverse kinematics to be joint angles. So we got x, y, z. We can use the inverse kinematics to get q. Or if you have x, y, theta, which is as a function of time, you can get q. And then to get q dot, you can use the Jacobian. Okay, and that we'll talk a little bit in the trajectory tracking part, but that's how you'll do it. Now, this is just saying those three. Now, this is just sort of a, we'll have to change this based on orientation too, but for now, just that's how we can do it. If you're not interested in changing the orientation, just the position, we'll do that. Okay, so when I run this, it's just show the manipulator, nothing else. Okay, and I'm going to just open up code so that we can then see how what is typed with what. So this is just showing the manipulator. What I'm going to do first, and this is what I would recommend when you solve problems like this, is the key is to do this one at a time. So first do the trajectory generation in the Cartesian space, then do the inverse kinematics. So it's two steps. So here is how we'll do it. What you can do is, this is maybe a new, not a very new thing. We are going to use a mocap reference. So this is basically a reference. This is the trajectory which we want to be illustrated in the figure. So what I did was I created that in the XML, but I just made it transparent. That's why you cannot see it. But let me make it opaque by putting 1. So it's going to be a yellow box for the reference. So let me show you what it looks like. So it's just a box. It's put z at 0, 0, 0. But we will like it to move. Okay, and the way we'll do this is I will specify via points. So we'll use, once we have via points, we can use splines, but we could also go to point A to point B, stop, point B to point C, stop. So you could use quintic polynomials too. So next I'm going to put these via points. Okay, these are points where I want the manipulator end effector to stop. And I just made them transparent so you cannot see them. Okay, so there are 3 via points, and I'm going to show them with a box. Sorry, 4 via points, starts from 0 all the way to 3. Then they're shown with 0.1, 0.1. I think it's gray color, so all of them are gray in color. They're at different orientations. So you can see that this is 0, 0, 90, which means that it is at 90 degrees. So it will be vertical. This is XY space. So that 90 degrees means it's going to be vertical. This is 45 degrees. This is 90 degrees, and then 180 degrees. So what that looks like. And by the way, they are at different positions. So I forgot to say that. So positions are different. In fact, you know what we can do? Easier way is I unwrap them one at a time. Okay. I'm just going to plot first one. Okay, so that's the one you said, which I said was 90 degrees. So 0 degrees is that way. So at this location, you can now see from there. Let's go open up the other one, second one. Okay, so that one, number 2. Here is number 3. So 3 is here. And then finally, number 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's this order. Starts from here, goes clockwise from 1, 2, 3, 4. My goal here is that I want this yellow blob or box to go from here to here to here to here. And I want it to maintain that orientation I specify with that. So, okay, so the next step is to use that yellow box to get to go on that path. Okay, so I'm splitting that into 2 steps just to make my life easier. And I recommended you do it the same way. First, I'm going to solve this problem of making the Cartesian trajectory for x, y, theta. Okay, so let's go back to the code. Okay, the way I do this is this planar, this XML file has this reference, this box, the yellow box. That has, you can see it's called mocap true. So that'll be used to basically move it. So I first get the ID of, see, where's the ID? Okay, so I get the mocap ID by calling it by its name, which is reference. Okay, ignore all that for a second. What I can then do is I can set the quaternion. I've commented this out, but I can set it to whatever I need over here. So for example, if I set this to np.array 1, 0, okay, and then let's say I put it at 1, 1, sorry, this will not work. I'm just going to overwrite it that way. So I'm going to show you how this is access. So 1, 1, 0. So we are basically overwriting that code. It shouldn't be a problem. Let's run this. So you will see that it at 1, 1, so x, y, 1, and with a orientation of 1, 0, 0. So it's a box. So you really don't see the orientation much, the effect of the orientation. So here it is 1, 1, and orientation is 0. Now you could also change it to 45 degrees. What is 45 degrees? I think the 45 degrees in the quaternion world would be 1. I think what MuJoCo does, it normalizes it. So I'm hoping that that will work. Let's see if it works. So it'll be at 45 degrees. So here, maybe not. 0.707. Nope. I don't know if I got this right. Okay, now that's not very important here. So let's comment this out. Now what I'm going to do is, I just showed you how to move that. You just have to set this to whatever you want. So next step is to actually move that yellow blob or box along that trajectory. So what I did was, first I got the positions of the xy positions of the via points, so via point 0, via point 1, so on, so xy. I also need the orientation of those points. So the orientation is basically the quaternions. I can get the quaternions from the XML file. I can get the quaternions of all these via points. Okay, I converted them to Euler angles because I'm just going to use quintic polynomials on the Euler angles. This shouldn't be a problem for 2 dimensions. And then I specify the time. So they will be moving from 0 to, so starts at 1, then goes to t0 plus dt1, so 3 seconds, 3 plus 3, I think 6, and so on, and then simulation ends. So what I did first was, let's take a quintic polynomial. So for time between t0 and t1, I use a quintic polynomial to get the position. So this is, remember, the position for the yellow box for this time based on those black regions, so the black boxes, then from T1 to T2 and T2 to T3. Once I get the positions, I can do the same thing for angles, and I'm just going to set them to be the MuCoP, right? So you will see that the yellow box moves from one of those gray boxes to another of the gray boxes now that I've uncommented this code. Okay. So it's also maintaining the orientation. Now, this is one way of doing it because they have wire points. It's stopping every time. You could also use cubic splines. I actually put that in the code too. All you need to do is change this to 1. Okay, now it's going to use, it basically use one of these boundary conditions. It's using the last one here. So based on all these points, X and Y, I have 2 cubic splines, one for the X position of the point and one for the Y position of the point. And I'm only doing this for the XY position. I'm not doing it for the orientation. So orientation is still going to use the quintic polynomial. So it's still using the quintic polynomial. I could potentially use cubic splines for that too, but I'm just using this. So now it's going to, you can see that it'll actually go without stopping from point A to point B. Here it goes. And then it moves, doesn't stop. And then here it will not stop because I'm using cubic splines, which ensure the velocity and the accelerations are continuous and stop. Okay, so that's, as I said, the step which you should do to verify your trajectory generation works fine. Once the trajectory generation works fine, you can go to the next step, which is the inverse. This is something we've done in the IK part of the class. So here is how you'll do it. All I do is now call the IK. The joint angles were not set. Now I'm setting them using IK. So here, the inputs to this is xref, yref, theta ref, exactly what we had done some time back for the manipulator, but I just do it in this cyclic fashion so that I get the right trajectory for the joints. So here we'll run this. So it's using cubic spline, so it doesn't stop. Okay, so that's that. So that's how I would highly recommend that you do this. First, plan the Cartesian motion using MuCoP. Second step, use the inverse kinematics. And then it'd be easier to do it rather than trying to rush both steps together.